Hello, fight fans. I'm that boxing writer, Jeremy Harridges, here with super featherweight contender, hopefully soon to be champion, Mikaela Mayer. Mikaela, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So looking at this, I know you've been waiting for this for a long time. How relieved are you to finally be fighting for a world title?
It feels good. I was feeling like I wanted this shot a few fights back, as I've been pretty verbal about, but now that the time has come and looking in hindsight, I just feel like everything's kind of coming together at the perfect time. I'm peaking as an athlete. I feel great. The world is watching now, whereas, it's giving me time to sort of build my career and build my fan base. And so I think this is happening at the perfect time.
Kind of talking about timing, I know that there's been a lot of issues and obviously the world's a pretty imperfect place right now dealing with COVID. Um, will you
Yeah,
not
minus.
be, yes, exactly. Will you not really feel relieved until you're in the ring after all the testing and all that?
Um, well, there was that nervous point when we're getting here where I'm like, okay, we all have to travel, we all have to go through this camp. Let's make sure we're all COVID free. And then also her team is all COVID free, them coming from Poland and getting to America early and all that. So I was a little nervous there because obviously my last fight that happened, we had to postpone it a month because I tested positive for COVID. So we got our test back this morning. Everyone's good as of now, so it should stay that way.
Mhm.
So I'm not too worried about it. The fight's happening as far as I'm concerned, as long as she makes weight.
Looking kind of at obviously it's a terrible thing to have this pandemic. It's a terrible thing to have COVID right now. But has it allowed you at least, to be more focused and spend more time with Coach Al and kind of have that closeness to where really boxing is maybe at this point been one of your only focuses?
Um, well, we always have that focus, to be honest. I mean, I always say my camps are a little bit different than every other boxer because I live with Coach Al the entire time we're in camp. I'll do the first half at his house in Michigan, and then he'll come to my house and finish with me in Colorado with Coach K. So I'm with him the entire time. There's no room to cut corners. And um, I said this today, boxing coaches are unique in a sense where they watch your every move. So the hovering is real, no cutting corners. He's on my ass the entire time, and that's always how we do it. COVID really has been made it no exception. It's been a little bit more difficult when it comes to like sparring and being in gyms. You got to be a little bit more careful. Like there's definitely a risk factor that comes with training for a fight. With this whole pandemic going on, obviously I tested positive, then Coach Al tested positive. So there's definitely a factor and a risk we've been taking, but to us, it's worth it. And this is what we do. So we just had to roll with the punches.
That uniqueness of your bond with Coach Al, the fact that you're so close, the fact that you literally do live with each other, is have you ever heard of any other athlete that lives with their coach, like literally lives with them, or is that such a unique thing between you and Coach Al?
I think it's definitely unique. I mean, I've been noticing more and more, like, as I become more settled into my pro career, that like boxing is just so different from every other sport. That athlete coaching, even boxing coaches are just so different from every other coach out there. It's such a demanding sport, physically, mentally. Um, Hardest sport in the world, according to ESPN. You just need so many things to get your body prepared for a fight and to perform at your best, absolute most potential. So so many things go into it, and definitely me and Coach Al's relationship is unique, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I There's a mental side to living with your coach for 10, 12 weeks, right? And like, that you've done everything right. And so I come into these fights just extremely confident, and I'm not cocky. I just know that I put the work in. It's like, whatever happens, I can't say I should have done this, I should have done that, because I did the work.
Mhm.
So that sort of gives me my confidence coming into my fights. And it's tough because, living
Mhm.
with your coach is rough, but it's worth it.
Is there a sense almost like you're living with like a second father at that point?
Oh yeah, like we're definitely all family, and even Coach K was living with us for the last couple of weeks. So
Mhm.
um, everyone just gets kind of comfortable with each other. I mean, we're all super close. Like I definitely consider them my family, so for sure.
Mhm. Looking at your opponent, Eva Brodnicka, you've said, and she's kind of gone back and forth through the media talking. I think it was interesting. I had a quote from you saying, "This fight will not go the distance. Eva Brodnicka is not on my level. Her time is up." You seem pretty convinced that you have what it takes to stop her. What is it that you're seeing that makes you so confident that you can stop her in this fight?
I said this before. It's really not about Nika. This is more about me. My confidence is coming from like where I feel like I am as an athlete and a boxer, and I feel like I've jumped so many levels this past year. You know, this is only my second fight this year, but we've trained like 4 camps. Just two of them got canceled. So we've been able to peak ourselves solid 4 times this year. I'm strong. I'm sharp. You know, I just feel like I'm developing really well, and so it's really less about Brodnicka because she is 19-0. She is the champion, so she's obviously no chump. But
Mhm.
I just feel like I'm peaking as an athlete, and this is my time. And the girls coming up right now have so much experience. You know, they're so much more skilled than this last generation of women boxers, and so it's really like my warning to the girls that have been in the pros and just kind of been like sitting on these belts that this is a new era of women's boxing. Like these girls are hungry and they're skilled and they're talented, and there's no more just sitting on your belts. Like there's girls coming up here to take your spot, and I'm in one of the most competitive divisions right now. Like my division is a perfect example of that. There's so many hungry girls, and I love that. So all the champs that are out there, and including me, when I become champion, like I know I'm going to have girls coming up trying to take my spot because there's a lot of them. There's a lot of good talent coming up. And so that's just my warning to the girls now is that better be ready because this is a new era of women's boxing.
When you see this fight playing out in your head and you kind of envision it to yourself, I kind of assume that you kind of imagine what it's going to be like in there. Ideally, do you see this fight going short, going long? When ideally would you like to get her out of there?
I would ideally like to end it before 6. Like I feel like I get sharper as the rounds go on. So, and I'm we don't know exactly what she's going to do. Like we'll know after the first round. So we do have a few game plans. And she does a couple things that could be a little bit frustrating to most fighters that we have planned for. You know, she likes to big circles and run and move, and she likes to hold. And so there might be a few things there that I'm going to have to adjust to real quick, and we will. Like we've studied for it and we have a game plan for it. But then I plan to catch on quickly and hope to finish it before the 6th round.
You've talked about the depth in your division. Obviously, there's a ton of great fighters. Eva Brodnicka has a belt. Do you consider her one of the top 5 best fighters in your division right now?
Yeah, well, yeah, she's got the belt, and I think she is ranked in the top 5. So, uh, technically, as of now, she is. Um, but I just, because of the hard work that we put in this year, like I just ranked myself higher than her. I just think that I'm better than her right now, and she won't be on that top 5 for long.
Well, and BoxRec would agree with you. They do have you rated higher than her at this point. So, and I think a lot of people would agree with that.
I think that just shows that I'm how deserving I am for this fight. Like I am deserving of this title shot. It's going to be a great fight, and things like that just prove it. Even though I'm not a champ, I'm still up there in the rankings. So I'm glad the WO made me mandatory.
No doubt. Obviously, you know, when you prep for a fight, I'm curious, and I ask this of a lot of fighters, and I always get a different response. Do you watch film on her? Does Coach Al watch film on her? Does he come up with the game plan? Is it a collaboration? How does that the creation process work for a game plan?
The strategy is not a collaboration. I mean, I guess it is because I'm the one doing the actual throwing the actual punches, but Coach Al's always been a strategist, and he must have watched her fight like 100 times. Sometimes he'll wake up in the middle of the night and just turn it on and watch it, or he'll wake up in the morning and he'll be like, I woke up about 3 a.m. and I was thinking, this is how I want you to box her. And so his wheels are constantly turning. He's studying. And every time he watches it, he's taking notes and he sees different things. And he always likes having not one, but 2 game plans. And then the 3rd game plan is dog it out and fight. So we always have strategy going into the fights. He makes me watch her fights also so that he can sort of explain like this is what she does. This is what I want you to do. And so I can have it in my head, but he definitely watches it way more than I do. Let me watch it with him a few times to go over the strategy.
It really seems like the stars are finally aligning for you at this point. Not looking too far ahead, but you know, obviously there's that series of goals that you have. Is the ultimate goal a showdown with Terry Harper? Would that be your preferred matchup in the future, or is there someone else that you would rather have?
That's my next goal. Yeah. I want to win this belt Saturday, and then I want to unify with Terry Harper. And I've had discussions with Terry Harper social media, via social media, which a lot of people have caught on to. Because I was in negotiation with Ava Wallstrom to go for that WBC belt, and then Terry swooped in and got it. So she's the champ now, and I felt like I was deserving for a shot against her. She told me to go get a belt, and then we can talk. So here I am, gonna get this belt, and then hopefully Eddie Hearn and Harper will be willing to have a discussion with my team.
Mm-hmm. If you get that fight, if you win, obviously I know you want to unify the division. Do you see yourself being a multi-division world champion throughout the next few years of your career?
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a goal of ours. Obviously, one division at a time, one fight at a time. Really, that's how my team keeps me focused. But I feel like I have the height and the reach and the speed and the strength to go into multiple divisions. So I really want to go undisputed at 130. I really do. It's been difficult to get this fight, so I don't know how difficult it will be to rally up all four of those belts. But if it's possible and in a reasonable amount of time, then I absolutely going to try and go for that. But I can fight at 135, and I feel like I can go up and fight at 140 as the years go on, and who knows, maybe even higher after that. We'll see as I come into my own. But like I said, I have the height to fight in multiple divisions.
Mikaela, thank you so much for joining me today. Congratulations on finally getting this fight. And I know the world's going to be looking forward to watching you fight. And hopefully we'll see you 14-0.
Yes, thank you.